We are here at the Amity Foundation in downtown Los Angeles, a structured live-in program for justice-involved individuals that helps them transition to life outside when they are released from jail. Los Angeles County operates the largest jail system and de facto mental health facility in the country, with a large percentage of inmates suffering from addiction and behavioral health issues. A nationwide trend is to divert low-level offenders away from carceral systems to community settings like this one that provide a better path for reintegration into society after release. But is this model realistic, and can it break the cycle of recidivism? Welcome to One-on-One, where we dive deeper into the issues of our time with the county leaders driving solutions. In this episode, we sit down with the director of the Justice Care and Opportunities Department, Judge Songhai Armstead.
I had a lot of people give me second chances. I had a lot of people open up their home to me and help me to navigate a very complicated system. And so because of that, I feel absolutely 100% obligated to do the same for as many people as I can.
Retired Judge Songhai Armstead overcame childhood challenges that included stints in the foster care system and the now closed McLaren Hall Children's Center. She went on to graduate from UCLA Law School and was appointed to the bench in 2015. Her courageous and inspiring personal story informs her vision and drives her passion for creating alternative pathways for those involved with the criminal justice system who want to turn their lives around.
Thank you, Judge Armstead, for joining us here today on One-on-One. And we're here at the Amity Foundation in downtown Los Angeles, a facility that helps justice-involved individuals transition into a life outside of the system. And we're going to talk about this facility in a bit. But first, in October of 2023, you were sworn in as the inaugural director for the new Los Angeles County Justice Care and Opportunities Department. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So what was the impetus for the Board of Supervisors to start this department, and what is its focus?
The Board of Supervisors have been committed really to designing a way for us to really work on prevention, diversion, and reentry for those in the justice space. But in March in 2022, there was a motion that said that they wanted two new departments in the County of Los Angeles. One was the Department of Youth Development. The second one was the Department of Justice Care and Opportunities. Both are really focused, one for 17 and under, the other one for 18 and over, for prevention, diversion, and reentry.
What would you say to the public that may think that these funds should go to other areas like food insecurity, for example, or the homeless, or public health, because it is a lot of money being allocated to this specific cause?
And I love that you said that, because there are funds going to food insecurity. There are funds going to housing those who are unhoused. When you think about a person who's coming out of the justice system, you are dealing with folks that need family support. You're dealing with folks that are unhoused. You're dealing with folks that struggle with mental health. You're dealing with folks that struggle with physical health, right? And so being able to help a person not enter the justice system or to return back and become a contributing member of society actually is a form of community safety.
It's a holistic approach that helps those that may be at risk.
Yes, so prevention, diversion, and reentry.
And speaking of diversion, your department has a rapid diversion program that has helped close 2,000 cases and reduced recidivism in that cohort by 93%. So talk to us about that, and is that really sustainable?
Most people, if they're given the right combination of supports and purpose, it's phenomenal what a person can accomplish and how their life will change. That's really part of what I came to do. I watched so many people in court over the years that really didn't think that they deserved to live, or they really didn't think that they could do any better, or they didn't think that anybody cared about them. And I think when we're able to provide those sorts of supports and help people see that they're supposed to contribute something to society, it makes all the difference in the world. There was one lady who said that she had been 15 years in a tent on Skid Row. She's now a truck driver.
Wow.
She's now housed. She's talking about how much money she made. When I see those moments, I'm like, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So it's being able to know that I struggled, but I can go back and I can be back on track.
So what would you like to say to people that say rehabilitation over punishment is going to cause more crime and that diversion means a lack of consequences?
So to be clear, I believe in accountability. I believe in accountability, but I think accountability can happen in a lot of different ways. No one gets healed in a jail. They just don't. They don't get healed in prison. But it's usually some sort of programming, some sort of intervention, some sort of second chance is really what makes the difference. Just throwing humans out with the bathwater doesn't help our society at all, right? But to be clear, I believe in accountability.
Right.
And what do we do with the person next? In JCOD, we do a number of other things. We also realize in order to provide the prevention, diversion, and reentry services, we need community-based organizations to do that work. We need folks that are on the ground in the community, able to communicate with folks, able to connect with people in those areas.
Right.
And so what we also do is that we help fund a number of organizations to be able to do that work. And we help support those organizations so they understand how to actually run a nonprofit.
So who is eligible for diversion programs?
The answer is it depends, right? It depends on the charges, it depends on the person's needs, it depends on if we're able and equipped to serve them. So there are a number of programs within Los Angeles County that serve people. The majority of them are anchored around folks that are formerly unhoused, those who struggle with mental health and substance use disorder, those who have less serious and less violent offenses.
The Board of Supervisors is committed to annually allocating 10% of its locally generated unrestricted revenues to what they call Care First, Jail's Last Vision. So where is that money going?
So it's going a lot of different places. So it's going to departments that provide services, prevention services, diversion services, youth services, community-based services to the communities with greatest need. And it also is going to a number of community-based organizations. For instance, out of that fund, we have something called the Care First Community Investment Care Grant. The first group of allocation was $55 million to 118 organizations. And the reason this is groundbreaking, it's never been done anywhere in the nation. Usually organizations have to pay and spend the money first, and then they get reimbursed. But most small community-based organizations can't support themselves in that model, right? These organizations are doing prevention work. They're doing after-school programs. They're doing reunification programs. They're doing parenting programs. They're doing domestic violence classes and a number of other things. There's another one where they have a program for transitional age youth. So these are kids who have aged out the foster care system and didn't have anywhere else to go. And I've met several of those youth that now are in college and they're stable. And these are kids that otherwise would have fallen through the cracks, right? And now with this grant, they're able to expand.
So these organizations aren't all necessarily dealing with individuals with criminal histories. It's also preventative.
100%, right? Yes.
The Amity Foundation and the facility we visited is an example of a care-first approach to serve vulnerable justice-impacted people.
When folks are finishing their last 33 months in custody, they're able to come to Amity and live in community, learn job skills, save up most of their money so that they're able to return home. They're able to have visits with their family, reunification. They get to address any of the things that would prohibit them from being successful in community while they're technically still in custody.
And I understand this beautiful painting is from one of the individuals that is part of the program or was part of the program, right?
Yes. We've hired him as an artist in residence to do a few art pieces that talk about what justice looks like. Nelson Mandela was formerly incarcerated. He spent many, many years in jail. And I asked the artist what this represents to him, and he said it represents power, but if you look, you can also see the kindness and grace, right? And how a person was able to go through the justice system, right? And still come out and offer so much to the world.
And there are some individuals, like you said, that may not qualify or may not be fit for rehabilitation.
Yes. Right. It's a very testy and delicate conversation because jails have to exist to some extent, but do we over-incarcerate? Yes, we do. But there are people that we cannot have in community because it's not safe. But there are also people who, with the right opportunity, with the right support, then they become a wonderful contributing member of society. Each case and each individual needs to be looked at uniquely based on their circumstances, the facts of their case, the harm that they've committed or to themselves and others. And how can we support them and how can we keep our communities safe and what are the right combination of things that we need to do for that individual.
You created an incubation academy. So
We did. I'm very proud about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
talk to us about what it is and how it's helping.
When I was on the bench, I struggled to find resources for folks that came through my courtroom. But I would literally leave my bench, go into chambers, and make phone calls of every contact I ever had to see if someone could take a person into a program. One of the first things I did was we have to set up an incubation academy so we can support organizations to expand that provide the services. Most people have a heart for service and they have an idea, but they don't know how to run the business, right? What does accounting look like? How do I apply for a grant? And so we have a program that takes you through a full curriculum that lets a person know how do you run the business side of a nonprofit, right? And then we have a year of mentoring and supports for them. What's really exciting is that within our first 89 organizations that went through our Incubation Academy, they have received $28 million in grants.
And another thing you launched is a call center for justice-involved individuals to be able to access county resources.
So we have a call center that operates from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. We will take you to housing if you don't have a home. We will connect you with case management. And then we will also remind you when you have a court hearing. We will take you to court and back home. So we'll take you to probation and parole so that you don't pick up a bench warrant and or failure to appear. We'll connect you to housing, job training, education programs, substance use disorder programs, and any other sort of supports you need.
And I imagine some of these individuals maybe don't have a relationship with their family, right?
Yes.
This is like a safety net that they can count on.
And I love that you said a safety net. And anyone who wants help will come and get you from jail, even if you're cited and released, and we'll connect you to services if you're interested.
You also launched a fire camp to give justice-involved individuals opportunities.
Many times people are in the justice system and they actually work in fire camps as a job while they're incarcerated, and then they return home and they have no job, they have no career. So we've actually converted a former juvenile camp and made it a live-in facility. And so we will fully support you, fully train you for free for a full year. You can be formally justice involved, you can be a former foster youth, you can be a person who just needs a help up. We also partner with LA County Fire. From there you can be hired by a number of organizations.
All of this is forward thinking. Something wasn't working and you're trying to make it work for justice involved individuals, for individuals that need a little extra help, right?
Right.
And as we see the justice system evolve, 5, 10, 20 years from now, how do you see it?
My hope is that we have designed an environment where people are given the supports they need. If a person is struggling in crisis, that they have a one-stop shop like the call center. The folks are able to return home and do what they were put on the planet to do.
Is there one person or one case that stands out in memory as symbolic of the work you're trying to do?
I'll talk about one which is really has been a motivating factor and a reminder about why I do what I do. There was a young man who was a former foster youth who was pulled into an environment where he was pretty much taken advantage of. He got case after case after case after case. I watched him go from a young man with a lot of light in his eyes and a lot of potential. He wanted to be a chef, right? But he didn't have the security and means to be in such a program. He's easily taken advantage of. He needed to be in a community setting. Then he got arrested again, ended up back in court. And then I watched him deteriorate. Mentally, he deteriorated. And I couldn't find a program to put him in, And I'm like, had we put him in a cooking program when he wanted to in a structured setting, this wouldn't have happened to him.
Right.
And when I left the bench, we finally found a program for him, but his mental state was so far gone. And it broke my heart. Those are the types of people that I don't want them to get to that point. We shouldn't wait until they're the worst case scenario before we try to help someone. Biggest thing I want folks to know is that what we're doing in Los Angeles County is groundbreaking. So we're at LACJCOD on all platforms. That's when you find out about our grants, about our services, about our call centers, about all of our partners, justiceconnect.org or 1-833-LAC-JCOD.
Well, thank you so much, Judge, for all the work that you're doing, and I'm sure it's going to have an amazing ripple effect that we can't even calculate right now.
I hope so. Thanks so much.